Let's go.
It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents, not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Good morning, everyone. Brand new show this week. All kind of stuff going on. We had some chaos the past couple of weeks with financial markets, with interest rates, with all kind of stuff. But the real estate market has been so resilient. Lots of great stuff happening. We're obviously in that spring market. We're hitting just the holiday weekends here. So, we'll talk about what's going on this past week, what's happened in real estate. We'll look kind of just what happened and how the real estate market responded to all this tier of craziness, the financial markets, and it bounced back like crazy. Our team put 20 plus properties under contract this week. I think I was counting earlier this morning at 23 so far. And let's see, yesterday we had 8. One agent on our team, Baron, did 4. One agent on our team, JJ, did 3. The day before that we had the day before that we had 5 under contract. The day before that we had 7 under contract. So it's been crazy this week. Lots of people in town, lots of people buying stuff. And that's great news, right? So we'll talk about what's going on there. We'll look at what happened with interest rates. They had a crazy couple of weeks where we hit a 6-month low and then right back 2 days later up to over 7%. We'll look back. Thankfully we're back into the 6s right now, which is great news over there. The brand new micro market numbers in from last month. They're very interesting. Like City of Myrtle Beach, for example, down 25%. Comparing this March to last March, which is interesting. So, but good news is some areas like North Myrtle Beach up. So we'll talk about what's going on there as well. Also, our investment fund just bought another property just 2 days ago. It was a condo, actually. We don't buy too many condos. We don't really get too much of that, but it was a condo. A lady owned it, wanted to move back to family, but she actually had gone into foreclosure with her HOA payments, and they were basically trying to take the condo for just crazy. We have a super fair price, great price, able to allow her to leave her stuff that she didn't want there. No closing costs, no issues. Boom, able to pick the closing date she wants, and super happy about that. We'll also get to what we had on last week's show overall with the best week of the year to list your house. And we just actually hit that this past week, but we'll talk about why, some of the data about that. Very, very interesting stuff. Again, also, we're in the spring market. Our team has really doubled down in marketing. Again, lots of stuff setting up for the season. We're seeing a big shift in terms of market share with agents. A lot of agents get out of the business, a lot of headwinds, and we're obviously seeing that happen. And so we're looking to add to our team. We're in a big recruiting push right now for the summer market, spring market. And so anybody out there that's thinking about getting to real estate, if you ever thought about it, if you're a listener who also is in real estate, not getting the support you want, leads you want, opportunities you want, reach out to us, right? We spend 6 figures a month in marketing, number 1 real estate team in Myrtle Beach by like double. And we're here to help serve the highest level. And we have our own real estate school. I can get you a super discounted rate on that. It's like 50% off. We have that all the time. And then also we have a scholarship for some people who want to get in, who would be a great fit, who need some help with that. You can go to sloanscholarship.com and learn about that. But just lots of great stuff. Amazing success stories. Our team's been absolutely crushing it. A great estate sale issue. We're able to help them get maximum dollar for their property. And a repeat client who did a flip with us, we helped them get maximum money to flip. So lots of great. So we'll talk about. We'll break down to some of the future data about Myrtle Beach. I just mentioned that last week about the article I did for Post and Courier. That's supposed to drop this weekend. And I'll talk about some of the great stuff we talked about how Myrtle Beach is really going to be very resilient in the long term and insulated very, very, very well.
For any new listeners, just to give you an update on just who Blake is, it's an amazing story. Industry leaders have dubbed him the real estate whiz kid. Been featured in Forbes, Wall Street Journal, NBC, Realtor Magazine, and many other national publications. He has been personally endorsed by Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck. One of those by itself is an accomplishment, but all of them together is unprecedented. Last week, we learned a little about how you and your team work and how a good portion of your success has come from the trademark systems you have developed to help both buyers and sellers here in our market. Recap quickly for anyone new to the show what those are exactly and a quick overview of how they work, Blake.
Yes, so this is the whole reason why I did the show. I was just looking at my notes here. There's so many horror stories. We talked about one last week where the guy lost $250,000 trying to do it himself just by trying to save money, be an agent. To sell himself FISBO, which is crazy. Sold it to a buyer. Buyer turned right around the next day and sold it for over $250,000 more than he sold it to them for. But the good news is he saved some commission, right? The other thing we see a lot is just everybody makes the same mistake over and over and over and over. And I hate to say this again, but the people that make it the most are the affluent people. I don't know what it is about it. I don't know why it is, but they make the dumbest mistakes when it comes to picking a real estate agent. They just want to pick the housewife who lives in the neighborhood. But the reality is the number one thing that determines your success or failure that comes, with getting your home sold, comes down to one thing only. And that thing is the agent that you choose, period. And really the reality is, because when you sell a property, it's 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one's handled correctly, it puts money in your pocket, property gets sold. That could be anything from the pricing strategy, from the quality of photos, the order of the photos. How long does it take the agent to respond to an online lead? Do they respond to online leads? How long does it take them to answer the telephone? Do they answer the telephone? How long does it take them to call back people who call in to buy your property? Like, it's all these things that we just run into, including one of the horror stories we mentioned last week about one of our own radio listeners who went with a friend of the family who, because they felt obligated, had the property listed the wrong square footage, which is basically $60,000 less than what the property is worth. And so there's all these mistakes that we see happen over and over and over, because details matter when you're talking about your largest asset. For some reason, people tend to make massive mistakes in picking agents. I did a whole documentary about this. You can check it out on blakesloan.com. But the reality is, one thing I'm doing this 20 plus years, I realize that most people don't have any clue about how to pick an agent. I know that because everybody I meet with doesn't ask the right questions. The only thing they ever ask is like, how much do you charge? And like, what do you do? That was really about it. Like, nothing about like, what's your marketing strategy? What makes you different? What's your history in selling properties like mine? Like, all these things that are really super important, because you want to make sure you understand to get the most value for your house, and obviously the most value in terms of what you do. And so the whole reason we do this show is just to wake people up and say, look, the reality is there's so many agents, 6,000 plus agents out there. The average agent sells less than 4 homes per year. That's 1 per quarter. There's not a whole lot of experience out there when you're talking about people's largest assets for $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, and in some cases multiple millions of dollars, where it makes a big difference in how they execute, right? And so you have to realize that there's so much that has to be done. It's simply impossible for one single person, aka an agent, to do all those things. And so they have to work with buyers, work with sellers, do the marketing, do the administration, do the listing coordination, do the contract to close coordination. All these things you have one person doing is like having the same person McDonald's to the front register, the drive-thru, and French fries at the same time, then wondering why the food's burnt and why the experience is not good, right? It's just simply impossible with the old school cassette tape model of how 90% of agents operate. You have to understand things have changed, things are different, and there's so many nuances and pieces that make or break your home sale. And so it's the whole reason why I do this show, to wake people up and say, look, here's the deal. Quit using average agents, right? If you got, if you had to get open heart surgery, I don't want some part-time doctor who's only done a few of them before, right? I want somebody who's the absolute best, most aggressive, smartest doctor who has experience and who's an expert to help save my life, right? If I get charged with a crime I didn't commit, or if I get sued by somebody, I don't want a part-time attorney who's only tried a few cases, who just dabbles in it here and there, right? I want the most aggressive, best attorney who specializes in that type of law, and you should demand the same level of excellence when you're talking about your largest asset. But for some reason, people don't. And so that's the one thing we want you to take from this show. And the reality is, when I got in the business, I realized there had to be a better way. The old school model, everybody basically just does the 3 Ps. They promise you the world to get the listing. They tell you anything and everything to get your business, your listing. Usually it's their number one. If you talk to any agent, they're all number one. And so the reality is, the second thing they do is they just put it into MLS, and 3, they just sit back and pray that someone else brings a buyer. Meanwhile, they're on the street trying to get the next listing because they're just trying to survive. And if you look at how our MLS data works in our marketplace, only about 50% of the properties that get listed are even selling. And so it's 50-50 chance it gets sold, which is risky, right? You're wasting 6 months of your time with your largest asset on an agent who has a 50-50 shot of getting it done. And they're not even executing at the highest level. Yeah, I think your property's set in the market. They're out playing golf, on the boat, doing all these things. And so you have to make sure you make the right decisions. So when I got in the business, there's got to be a better way to do this than the old school model. When I was at Coldwell Banker, it's me and 200 agents. They didn't care about me. I didn't care about them, because they were trying to take our business in a way. And so we really said, look, how do I build a business, an actual corporation, a company that's in alignment, that has everyone in the same way, rowing the boat the same direction, where you have a team of specialists, where people specialize in what they do, aka each part of the transaction, and versus an old school model where everyone's just a generalist trying to do everything. And so I designed this thing called the Guaranteed Sold System, the only proven system that sells homes twice as fast and for 20% more money than traditional methods. And it works very, very, very well. I designed it. We do license it to some agents across the country, but It's exclusive to us here. If you want to see how that works, you can see a whole documentary about it at blakesloan.com. You can also do our main site, sloanrealtygroup.net. But the reality is it makes a massive difference. It allows us to make sure we manage those variables with a large team of people, 30 plus people. We have technology that also manages all those variables, including AI, artificial intelligence, that allows us to make sure we can really capitalize on every single detail. You owe it to yourself to at least investigate it, check it out. Anytime we sit down with anybody, it absolutely blows our mind in terms of how we do it. We have tens of thousands of buyers that we already have in place, that we already have in what we call buyers in waiting for a property just like yours. And that's what we're able to do, is use that technology to match up buyers and sellers, because that's what we're in business to do. For buyers out there, guess what? There's 100 plus variables when you're buying a property. The agent could cost you tens of thousands of dollars just in how they show up and what they do. I can't tell you how many people call our office every single week. Their agent doesn't call them back. They try to go look at properties. The agent didn't respond to them. The agent didn't have time for them, whatever it is, right? Like you have to understand, like you have to have somebody who's a true expert. And so I designed this thing called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. Gives you priority access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as the home inspection negotiation to get you to that closing table successfully. But the bottom line is you want somebody who's an expert. We train our office so much. We train Monday, Wednesday, Friday on certain things. I personally train Tuesday, Thursday on that. And we have all kind of high level details and skill sets that we teach our agents, so they're on top of the market. They know what's going on. They have a culture of showing up, responding, be on top of it. We're here to hustle, right? Most agents are just going through the motions. Like I said, working a few days a week. That's the last thing you want to do, is gamble with your largest asset with someone who's just working a few days a week. And so if you want to know more, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD or blakesloan.com. Lots of great stuff on today's show.
Sean Hannity here with the only real estate agent in your market that I recommend, Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. And thanks for joining me today. A lot of real estate companies are making instant offers these days. What makes yours different from what they're offering?
Hey, Sean, that's such a great question. The massive difference is we actually buy your house. Most of those advertisements you hear on the same station are wholesalers. They're just there to lock your property up at a discount price and try to assign it to someone else, make money off your hard-earned equity. Then they even hang at the closing table if they can't find someone else. They never had any intention of closing. Most don't even have the money to close if they wanted to. We're local. We have millions of dollars, and we actually close the deal.
All right, thanks for keeping us up to date. Find out how much demand your home can command right now. Call the agent that creates the most demand. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com. And consider your home sold.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corbett. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. We offer several options to home sellers.
And don't forget next Wednesday,
That's right.
Yeah.
my daughter's getting her ring.
Very cool, man. That's cool. I don't think I ever got one. My parents got divorced like my senior year. I never even got a ring. I was like, whatever. I just kind of, that's a special thing that I didn't get to do when I was younger. Long story. Welcome back, Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Brand new market update. All kind of stuff happening. I'll tell you, it is a very, very dynamic marketplace right now. You got some numbers that are up double digits, some that are down double digits. And so, like, I'm really, really a nerd about these numbers. And so I'm like living in it every single day of like what's happening, keeping a pulse on it. There's all these different types of numbers that you have to measure to really make good decisions and advise your clients from a real good position of expertise. And so we have the micro market, which is like each zip code. We'll go over that today. The macro market, which is like the entire Grand Strand, coastal North Carolina, all the way down, past Georgetown, inlands like Dillon, Marion. So we have all that's the macro market. And then we also have like the new pending deals. That's like what's happening in real time. Because you look at what closed sales are, which is what the majority of people use in the industry. If they closed last month, right, which will be March, they went under contract 30 to 60 days prior to that. So they went under contract January, February. at best. And so like you're making decisions off data that's 3 months old in many cases. So like you want to keep a pulse on like, hey, what's historically happening? But I also want to know like what's happening real time. And so we'll talk about that. And we'll also go through the micro market numbers. If you look at the last 7 days, I'd tell you it's actually been so resilient. Remember some chaos going on in terms of the financial markets. The stock market was down, then it was back up, then it was back down. And so the reality is the bond market didn't perform very well either during that crisis. And so what happened was interest rates went back up. We had almost a 6-month low that happened, I think 6.64%. Then it bumped back up to over 7% last week on last Friday. And then back down today, which is great news. We'll talk about where it's at right now. And so the last 7 days, though, has been phenomenal. Like I said, our team's been crushing it. Over 20 properties under contract the last 7 days, maybe way more than that. But that's when I just tying up earlier. And looking here at the entire MLS, the last 7 days, 535 properties under contract for $201,037,000. So that's awesome, right? Anytime over 200 million, market's rock and rolling, which is great. Last week's show was 552 for 212 million. So 11 million more, not a huge deal. There were some big time sales happening last couple weeks. And I think maybe saw it slow down a little bit, but still some big money coming in. We put a property under contract in Pawleys Island, over $1 million, I think 1.3 million, right near the ocean. We put that under contract in like 7 days, and we had our own buyer for it as a buyer, very, very well qualified buyer that we already had in our database that we showed it to, put under contract after it's in the market. And that's something we do all the time. But looking in the last 7 days, only 2 properties over $2 million, 17 properties over $1 million. One of those was ours, like I mentioned, that we brought the buyer to, and 91 properties over 500,000 in the last 7 days. It's interesting compared to last week's show where you had one at 3.9, one at 2.9, one at 2.7, 24 over a million. And again, that has to do with some of our high-end clients. Obviously, may have taken some hits in the stock market and kind of put some things on pause. But a lot of that's recovered a little bit, which has been great. We're seeing a lot more people saying, hey, I'm finding a little more safer long-term investment in real estate right now. It's a little bit less chaotic and volatile. And so that's what we've seen a lot of people do as well. And so market's holding up very, very good. Like I said, 201 million in the last 7 days. So we'll take that all day long, every day. And looking at the entire MLS, for anybody that missed last week's show, the entire resale homes is what we kind of look at. Resale homes in the entire Grand Strand were up 10.7% in March, which is good news. And it's ironic, right? It jumped up pretty good from basically January. It had 334, February 345, then it jumped up from 345 in February up to 456 in March. And again, that has to do typically with the spring market, but it is up 10% more than where it was last year. There's also, if you remember, in January, February, there was a time period when rates went back into like almost the mid sixes. Lots of buyers jumped back in, and that's one thing you saw there. The one thing that's concerning a little bit is watching prices, though. Prices have declined year versus year, down 7.5% at 365,000 for median price. But the last 3 months it's declined for median price. So if you look at January, it was 392,500, February 385, and then it went from 385 all the way down to 365 between February and March. So a $20,000 drop in median price, which is interesting. I look at, and also average sale price has really declined the last 4 months. And so I've looked back to December, 510,000 was really kind of peaked out there. Then January 501, February 490, and then March down to 465. And so that's significant there in terms of what that drop is in the last 4 months. And so the biggest drop was between February at 490 and March at 465. So that's something you're looking at there, $25,000 plus drop just in that 1 month. And so again, it had to do a little bit slower times. We always know that price is a lagging indicator. And so that's something we'll keep watching to see it bounce around. I think you'll probably see it bounce back up a little bit as you did see sales spike last month. The one thing that's kind of keeping it, a little bit softer is supply has kind of been through the roof. We just hit a new recent record at 4.9 months of inventory. It's up 36% from where it was overall. And the last time we've had that much inventory, I have to go back over 5 years. So I go back to my 10-year plan here. The last time we had that much inventory was right at October 2019. So pre-COVID was the last time we had that much inventory in the market here. And that's something we'll keep watching. So that means there's more competition for sellers out there, right? Supply and demand. So as supply is up, demand is down a little bit. You will see softening of price, which is exactly what's happening. Days on market, though, was up a little bit last month, which is great news. 105 days for the average property to sell in the MLS. And that's the ones that do sell, though. Remember, almost 50% of those are not selling. And so that's why it's so important the agent you choose is an expert, isn't just a friend of a friend who's part-time. You need somebody who's very, very good, because I'll give you the simplest math equation to help understand that there is. Right now, the average listing in the entire MLS for a house gets 3.9 showings in a entire 6-month period, which is less than one per month, right? So they're getting 3.9 showings total, and that's the entire time it's listed. So think about that. That was over 180 days. You're getting 3.9 showings total in most cases. The problem is the amount of showings it takes to get a contract is 12.1. And so you can see the problem there, right? It needs 3 times the amount of showings that the average listing gets to get a contract. And that's why the properties are just sitting there. They're not getting the right differentiation, not getting the right marketing, not getting the right push from agents or specialists who can help show that property to people and get it out there to get that differentiation. So that's something we'll keep watching. Overall, condo market has been taking a significant hit lately. Closed sales on 17% last month alone, comparing March to March. Prices also down 8.8%, and it's down really since November. So you're talking 5 months of straight decline for a median price. Average sale price also down every month since December. December is 284. Then it went to 280. Then in February, it's 273. But check this out. From February, it went to 273 all the way down to 249. So that's an interesting there, over $20,000 plus drop there just in one single month. And so if I have a condo and I've been thinking about selling it, I would do that sooner rather than later. I do not see that bouncing back too much in the very next. There's just so much inventory out there. There's so much challenges right now with people not wanting condos due to the assessments, due to the insurance issues, doing to some other engineering things that you're having. In addition, some people are not paying HOAs, which is creating an issue as well. Inventory is at a new high, 8 months of inventory. It's up 40% from where it was. And so if I go back to my 10-year plan here, the last time we were at 8 months of inventory was all the way back in 2016. So that would have been at August 2016 was the last time we had that much condo inventory on the market. And so that's just something to keep in mind if I'm thinking about selling my condo there as well. Really quick, I'll jump into the micro market, hit a couple of key places just because it's what I get the most questions about, the most feedback about. The key part that we look at is kind of our anchor. It's kind of where everyone else follows later on. It's Myrtle Beach, right? 29577, 29572 zip codes. Closed sales last month down 25.9%. Interesting, right? So last March, there were 54 sales. This year, only 40 sales. The good news is price is still resilient there. It's up 5.6% from 532 to 562. So great news overall with that. Inventory is also up significantly, 34% more houses for sale than there was at the same time last year. That's just in March. Year to date, Myrtle Beach sales are down 5.2%. The crazy number, though, prices year to date so far, so the first quarter in Myrtle Beach are up 18.9%. So last year, at the end of Q1, it was 462. This year, 549. And so big increases there. You saw a lot of big properties go under contract and sell, which has been great. Condo market in Myrtle Beach down 22% for closed sales last month. Prices down 2.9% last month. Inventory is up 15%. And the days on market that it takes to sell is up 40%. So last year, a condo had sold 102 days if it sold. Right now, it's 143 days overall. Year to date, condo sales, Myrtle Beach down 5.2%. Down 12.1% for condos. Prices down 2.2%. The crazy thing, too, is year to date, days on market up 36.9% overall. Here's the opposite side of the equation. North Myrtle Beach is still crushing it last month, up 7.5% for sales. Prices also up 4.7% from 534 to 560, which is great news. The one thing that's kind of alarming, though, is inventory in North Myrtle Beach, 29582, is up 85% from the same time last year. So last March in North Myrtle Beach, there's 175 properties. Right now, 325. And so that's something you kind of want to keep in mind. More competition. Obviously, you're not seeing an 85% increase in demand. You're going to see prices soften a little bit going forward. Year-to-date prices in North Myrtle Beach down 2.3% at 575. And sales down 8% year-to-date. Surfside for single-family homes. Sales down 3.8% last month. They're up down 14.9% year-to-date. Median price up last month, up 8.3% at $410,000, which is awesome. And first quarter year-to-date, up 8.2% for prices at 402, which is great news overall. Condo market was up 22% year-to-date versus last year. Prices down, though, down 14% from 187 down to 160. Garden City, Myrtle's Inlet area, closed sales for resale homes for all homes last month up 7%. Year-to-date up 9%, which is great news. prices last month in Garden City, Myrtle, up 24% from the same time. So March of last year, prices, median price, $393,000. This year, $487,000, almost $100,000 increase, which is interesting. We'll kind of watch that. And again, that's some certain neighborhoods that are higher end, things that are happening there. Year to date, prices up 9.6% for resale homes, for all homes. That includes new construction, 430 to 472. And then condos, not many condos there when we talk about that. Carolina Forest, closed sales for homes last month down 22%. The last quarter down 9.5%. And so prices hold on resilient, though. That's great news, up 3.7% from 425 to 440. Conway area, closed sales last month up 17%, which is awesome. Why is that? You'll see the same thing for Loris and Longs too. There's a lot of new construction, a lot of deals out there. We're building properties where there's a little more affordability, and you're seeing buyers move out there. And we're selling a lot out there, especially on new construction, which is great news. Prices last month in Conway up 8.9%. Right now, the median price $316,000 in Conway. Right now, year to date, which is first quarter, prices up 5.1% to $310,000, which is great news. Loris and Longs area, the 29568, 29569. Check this out. Sales last month up 13%. And the closed sales year to date up 23%, which is awesome news there. Prices last month down 6.1% at $285,000. That's just kind of due to a mix of new construction, what's happening, where it's being built at overall. And inventory is the only places where inventory is down in Loris and Longs. And again, a lot of new construction has been built there and been sold there. And it's just that area is pretty close to the beach. People really want to live there. They can get to Cherry Grove very quickly, and lots of big places to build neighborhoods. And that's what you're seeing. Aner sales up 14% last month, up 35% year to date. Prices are up 11% last month at $295. Year to date up 17%. And in Pawleys and Georgetown, sales last month down 2.6%, so pretty much the same. Last year 38, this year 37. Prices are down 17% last month from 669 to 550. And inventory of homes for sale is up 36% from last year. Last year's 98 homes, this year 134. So you can see there, it's all over the place. This is why you need an expert to help really break down the scenario, break down your zip code, break down your neighborhood, and really pick strategy and look at, hey, what are these types of properties selling, and how can we make sure we maximize that? Because you'll see some are down, some are up, and they're double-digit differences, right? And so if you want to know more how your property stacks up, reach out, call me, 843-808. So we also have an online tool where you get an instant cash offer. It's by far the most accurate online tool for home evaluation. It pulls from all the major data sources and gives you basically a graph of all of them. And so you can go to blakesloan.com, enter your information, have a dashboard of all your properties you own anywhere in the country. And it'll keep that dashboard for you. It'll tell you all the sales around you. It'll track real-time equity. It'll track everything for you, which is super powerful. And that's at blakesloan.com. Interest rates really quick. Last week's show, they're 6.97. They bumped up right to 7%. First week back down right now, a 6.87 for a 30-year fix, which is great news for that. A 15-year fix, 6.28. A 30-year jumbo loan right now, 7.03%. A 30-year FHA loan, 6.3%. And a 30-year VA, 6.3%. So great news teeing up with this kind of Easter kickoff for the spring market. If you're thinking about selling, you want to take advantage of the spring market, because this is when people are coming in town to buy. They combine their vacation, they combine their spring break with buying something and searching for it. So we'll talk about that. I'll take a quick break right back in a second.
You're at 28 minutes.
Okay, so we
You have a minute and a half. So if I run a commercial, you'll have 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Can we
You really want to do that, or you just want to wrap it up?
can we edit out that commercial part?
I don't even got to run the commercial.
But can we edit that part when I say we'll just
I can edit that out. That's what I'm saying.
all right, yeah, let's do that. I have a minute and a half.
You got a minute and a half, so let's go ahead and cut that out.
Good, thank you.
Then you just close it down.
Perfect.
For a 30-year fix, which is great news for that. A 15-year fix, 6.28. A 30-year jumbo loan right now, 7.0. And a
market, you're thinking about selling, you want to take advantage of the spring market because this is what people are coming in time to buy. They're combining their vacation, they're combining their spring break, they're buying something and searching for it. So we'll talk about that in the third year of the game.
Now you're right after it says.
We'll talk about that. We'll break right back in a second.
We'll talk about that. Where do you want to stop it?
Buying something and searching for it. So we'll talk about that.
Buying something and searching for it. You want to start there?
That's fine.
Because after that, you say.
Yep.
We'll talk about that. Take a quick break right now.
We'll talk about that. Take a quick break.
Talk about it. Yeah, start at that before we talk about that.
All right, you ready to go?
Yep.
Just continue with it.
Got it.
And like I said, you're going to have about a minute and a half.
Got it. Real quick into our hot buyers alert. Our team working with a ridiculous amount of home buyers in the Myrtle Beach, Grand Strand area. Anywhere from Myrtle Beach to North Carolina. Right now, it has 78,118 active home buyers. Anywhere looking to buy on the Grand Strand. Again, 78,118 active home buyers. You're thinking about selling. Please call us immediately, 843-808-SOLD. We talk about this every week. We spend $100,000 a month marketing from all across the globe. I got Conway. I got North Providence, Rhode Island. I got PA. I got New York, Massachusetts. Looking to buy here right now. So reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD. If you're thinking about selling, give me a call as well. Also, we had another great success story really quick. Angela inherited a home in Conway. Her mother passed away. She was out of state, did not want to have to do any repairs. She was concerned she couldn't get the money she wanted. Came to us. We handled everything for her. So we had hundreds of buyers matched up to our investors that we had in-house. We sold for $15,000 more than she ever thought possible. She's ecstatic. She had not to list any hands to get done. If you want that same success story, reach out, give us a call, 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com. We'll see you next week.
Just had a lot of information to put in there.
Yeah, I was